What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Pot Boys. David and Andrew here. We got to talk about how the NBA has just celebrated Filipino Heritage Night at the Houston Rockets game, and they were highlighting Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson as players of Filipino descent.
Right, and this caused, Andrew, quite an internet controversy.
Now, why we got to talk about why there was even any controversy, because these are two guys who are part Filipino, but They have claimed their Filipino side. Both of them have said the phrase, I am proud of my Filipino heritage, right? But then there was like some debate on Instagram and Twitter.
Well, there was a lot of debate on a lot of different sides. Filipinos had an internal debate. A lot of them mostly saying, I'm proud of Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson, even though they're both a quarter Filipino. But then there was also ones going, man, why do we always claim everybody that's like a 10th? This is so ridiculous. Yeah. But then I think the bigger beef that I saw, Andrew, was actually between the Filipino community and maybe some black Americans that were like, man, why are you guys trying to take some black guys away from us? Like, these guys are clearly black, and just because they're this percentage of something else, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, I think this also raises a question is like, why is it like taking away from somebody else if they acknowledge their Filipino side?
I had not seen a black Filipino split like that since Mayweather-Pacquiao.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters, but I think I need to know where Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson stood when it came to Mayweather.
You want to check some tweets from 5 years ago, right?
Oh, man, I don't even know if they were on Twitter 5 years ago, to be honest. Jalen Green's so young. He was like 14. But I think this is interesting because I think as a Chinese person, I'm always like, you know, it's funny because when Chinese people, when it comes to claiming people of Chinese heritage, I think like we kind of have like technical markers, like boxes that we need to check. Like, do you look Chinese? Do you speak Chinese? Is your last name Chinese? And like those are like maybe 3 of the top 5 boxes to mark. But I do think the way Filipinos have always claimed people of Filipino heritage, it's been a lot like more liberal. It's been more generous. Of like, hey, if you're a fourth and you've had lumpia and you say you're proud of being Filipino, you're on our squad.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's due to the unique history of the Philippines, where they've been colonized so many times, where like even a regular Filipino person living in the Philippines might be mixed with like 3, 4, 5 different things at this point.
Yeah, you know what's fun? I think growing up, I used to be like, I don't know, Filipinos, like, I don't know if you can claim the 4th Filipinos. But then at some point, especially in 2021, where it's just like, hey man, everybody wants representation, and it's like, it can't hurt. I'm like, yo, like if they say they're proud of it and you want to claim them and they want to claim that side, like Saweetie and Olivia Rodrigo, then so be it.
You don't need to hear them speak Tagalog.
No, I mean, I'm not a gatekeeper to that either, you know? So I'm like, yo, Filipinos are proud, and I know not all Filipinos claim them the same amount, but I'm saying like, they can do it. I mean, why not?
It's better than nothing too. I think that when you value something like American culture, when you value something like the basketball world, when you value something like hip hop, you have an additional incentive to look for representation in those fields, right? Like, for example, like we have a friend, Taylor Rapp. He's half Chinese, he's half Caucasian, and he's in the NFL, but I don't think that Chinese were starved for representation in the NFL. And to be honest, a lot of people in the Chinese community don't really know that Taylor's half, because outwardly he doesn't appear to be.
It's not Taylor's not as celebrated as I would even want him to be. You know?
I wish that he was more, but I know that our community has very strict sort of like ways that they identify. Plus, they're not that into football.
And I also want to note, like, you know, Barack Obama, he's actually half white and half black, but he visually looked more black, and it was just like, you know, that was more of his. That's what made him more unique. So he was like,
that's how he presented by the boxes in society.
Yeah, and he married, you know, Michelle Obama, who's black, and it was just like, okay, so he's black, but he's actually mixed. So one side is gonna get less attention, even though everybody knows these people are mixed.
Right. So what do you think about like the rift between, I guess, like, you know, we're talking about the Mayweather-Pacquiao thing. Some black Americans were like, you know, this is like erasure of their more dominant, I guess, black genes. And then that's what got them to the NBA. And now you guys are just trying to make them these like international marketing tools.
Okay, I see their point, but I don't think it's about erasure. Like, it doesn't erase their black side. Obviously, most people would say that them being black was a huge reason why they're in the NBA, right? Because there's no full Filipinos yet in the NBA, like full
logically,
Pinoy blood.
It was there was something there.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that no one's denying that they're black. I think they're just like, oh, what makes them different is that they're Filipino. What makes them special culturally is that they're Filipino. And maybe maybe being Filipino gave them their style too. I don't know.
No, I will say this. Like, I will admit, I used to be a little bit like, kind of like, not rolling my eyes, but I used to be kind of like looking at Filipinos like, yeah, you guys are just gonna claim everybody does everything good. This like 16th. They like they don't speak a word of the language. But then I realized that actually Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Green, their drip is like actually pretty Filipino.
They kind of dress.
They wear the Eric Emanuel shorts, short shorts, and then they have like the vintage.
They dress like an Asian hype beast.
Yeah,
which is like. Yeah, a lot of Filipinos are Asian hypebeasts.
They dress like tan.
Yeah.
They dress like tan.
No, I mean, all anecdotes aside, I mean, I think that identity is a funny thing, man. And we all know where identity is going and just the conversations around it. And I just wish that it wasn't so like negative. I wish you could highlight their Filipino side and them saying that they're proud of their Filipino heritage, no matter how much of Filipino history they know and how much Tagalog they speak, which is probably not a lot, to be honest. But like, regardless, like if they say it and they have like a tita and tito or whatever, they like, I don't know. What? I mean,
I think it goes to show you that it's sort of like, all these things are very complicated, and I don't think these are discussions that are like in their final version. Things aren't really refined until version 4.0 in terms of this discussion of like Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson specifically being Filipino and black at the same time. It might be like at a 1.0 level right now, and it might need to go through more levels, and especially we'll see. I know particularly Jordan Clarkson, he seems intent on pushing this discourse.
And I do want to note, guys, when ethnicities claim other people as part of their ethnicity, there's also incentive, especially if that person is cool or really good at what they do. Like, let's be honest, if Taylor Rapp becomes a Pro Bowler, I do think him being Chinese is going to be promoted a little bit more. I also think that because Jalen Green and Jordan Clarkson, they're very athletic, they got flashy games. Jalen Green is one of the top draft rookies, and Jordan Clarkson is a highlight player. And I'm saying like these guys fit what Filipinos like they can dance with the ball.
You're talking about in the Dave Chappelle ethnic draft, they would be higher draft picks.
Yeah, like you want them. Like I'm saying, Rob Schneider, the actor, he's part Filipino, but
you don't see people clamoring. You don't see, right, you're saying between Schneider, which I'm assuming is like German, you don't see the Germans and the Filipinos fighting over Rob Schneider.
No, there's so many part Asian people out there. There's actually a lot, but unless they're cool and like good looking and good at what they do, then a lot of those groups don't feel the incentive to fight over them. But
yeah, we know a couple hoppers that nobody's fighting over.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan and Jalen, you want to fight over them, man. It's like Barack, like black people wanted Barack. I mean, for all good reasons, because Barack is really cool. He's very, he did do a lot of work in the black community before he even became president. So of course I get it. And I'm like, I look at Jalen and Jordan, I'm like, yo, these guys are like, they're fly, they dress well, they can dunk on so many people, they can shake people. I'm like, yeah, of course you want to claim them. I'm like,
yeah, cool. I think it does go to show you though, to your point, there's a lot of like cool point stacking in the racial drafts with the mixed people.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Filipinos, they're cool. Like they know what's cool and they try to be cool. So it's like, don't you want the cool
what I
players?
thought was kind of pretty Asian of Tiger Woods is when he endorsed Hyundai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he got hurt in the Genesis, remember?
Yeah, that's funny though.
But the Genesis is a good car.
It's funny because he's Asian, but then like he's Thai or Thai Chinese. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess cross Asian, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever.
You know what? I remember Tiger was trying to bring up the I'm Kablasian thing back in the day, and people were not having it. Like, he got roasted 20 years ago for trying to invent like a race that was like Caucasian, Black Asian, Kablasian, and people were so mad. But I think in 2021, you'd be problematic for telling him he can't be Kablasian.
Hey man, Jordan Clarkson won Sixth Man of the Year, and if Jalen Green becomes Rookie of the Year, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say he's he's the most pure representation of a Filipino, but if you want to claim him as part Filipino, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm with it.
And I think that hopefully there can be like more people like talking about this at a higher level instead of just it devolving into like internet name calling, which I've seen a little bit of.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think there's always going to be like that because there's always going to be Filipinos who are like, gosh, do we have to claim people who are just a fourth or an eighth, don't even speak Tagalog? And then there's people who are going to be like, hey man, he looks black to me, so what do you want me to say?
Right. And then there's going to be people saying, just let me be proud and let me have representation in this field that I value. And I'm looking for like some piece of me. I mean, I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Obviously, their opinion is like driven from their experience and their lens that sort of shapes their worldview.
Yeah.
But
And let's be honest, the NBA moving forward to keep the Filipino fans like very engaged and, you know, show love to them, because there are a lot of Filipinos love the NBA, right? So the NBA wants to show love back by highlighting them as Filipino. I mean, they also have incentive from a business and marketing standpoint.
Yeah. You're talking about from like just a bottom line.
Yeah, from just like keeping Filipino fans just as part of the game.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And you know what? Everybody can have their own incentive in it, but it's still a beautiful thing at the end of the day. Really happy. I am a fan of Jordan Clarkson. I am a fan of Jalen Green. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. I don't think there are like real answers to this. There's just different perspectives. But obviously in 2021, the movement is more leaning towards like people should claim, you know, whatever they identify with.
I got a question real quick, and I'm going to end it on this. Do you think identities can be celebrated in a positive way without it being negative on someone else? You know what I mean? Like, instead of it feeling negative just because you want to celebrate their part Filipino heritage, like, can that just stay positive without the negative? Or is it just that's how social media is? You can't avoid it.
Man, it's tough. I want to say that it is, but then when you celebrate it and then there's no mention of the other side, then inevitably someone feels hurt by it. And different people have different sensitivity thresholds. So
sure.
I don't know, guys. Please make sure you share this with somebody. I don't think you're going to hear a lot of people talk about this on ESPN because at the end of the day, nobody's, you know, going to look into it as deep as we did. But let us know. Hop Pop Boys, Jordan Clarkson, Jalen Green, wish you guys a great season. Taylor Rapp, wish you a great season. Till next time, we out.
Peace.